Welcome, my friends, to Paranormal Heart Podcast. Tonight's segment, as you know, is pre-recorded, streaming on United Public Radio Network 107.7 New Orleans. That's on my bucket list. I have to go to New Orleans one of these days. Hey, maybe UPRN will send all us hosts there for a big party. Wink, wink. You think so? Anyways, I'm your host, Kat Ward. Thank you so much for joining me. So, my special guest tonight is well versed in pretty much anything paranormal and wears many hats. Hats, you'll see why I say hats. He's founder of the Rift Nation, Paranormal Research Historian, is a student of Bushido, and so much more. The social media hitman himself, Mr. Ed Odell. Ed will be discussing UFOs tonight and maybe something a little bit more. We don't know. We'll see where the conversation comes from, or where the conversation goes, sorry. So, welcome, Ed.
Hello and
Hello.
good evening. How are you?
I'm not quite awake. No, but I'm good.
Very good, very good. We have to let people know right away. See, Kat and I now know our own personal sign language. We know how to read lips now. So we've got this. No worry, no communication. We got this.
We got this, right? Might be a little boring for the audience, but you and I
Oh, it'll
got
never
this.
be boring. Never
No, I
boring.
mean with the sign language, they might not. They'd be like, "What is going on?"
Well, it all depends if it's flying saucers.
Ooh.
Little
Just
green pen.
Just a little backstory for the audience. This is our third time trying this. The first time there were internet connections. Both Ed and I said full internet. We don't know why we kept getting all those glitches when it said we had all full bars. And so we tried it again, and then my audio wasn't working. I could hear him. He couldn't hear me. It took me 2 days to figure it out, but finally did. It was a Chrome issue. But I was able to figure it out, thankfully. And we've been joking around saying 3 times got to be lucky now. So 3 times
Yeah,
it's lucky.
here we are. Here
Yeah.
we are. The universe and those little alien life forms did not want us communicating.
I kind of feel like I've had you on my show a few times because of all the times we've tried to do this.
Hey, that's okay. Personalities click. We're on target.
That's right.
And even my hole in my chest.
I love how that mug flashes.
Mm,
As long as you
good.
don't flash us, just the
That's
mug.
it. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. All right, I like this background. It's all
Yeah,
good.
cool background. Yeah. So, if you could tell the audience, well, I'm sure they already know who you are and where to find you, but just there might be a couple of stragglers. Could you tell them a little bit about your background and how you got into the paranormal
Oh yeah, that.
and the
uh,
Hitman story too?
Oh, yeah. I didn't see. I was wondering if you were going to go back to the Hitman. That's
Oh
okay. No
yes.
problem. Yes, we'll go there. Well, my name is Ed Odell. My close friends call me Howie. Uh, I am the creator, of course, of the Rift Nation Network, which is a series of 7 podcast shows that are on YouTube, Facebook, all over. We restream live off of Restream. No pun intended there. Um, I'm also the acting director. Well, okay. I am the overall director of All Seeing Paranormal Society, ASPS. But we have locations all over Virginia and a team in North Carolina. So they have their own directors. I'm the overall director. They're the area directors.
Okay.
Um, I am not like most people who have had an experience that got them into the field. No. I am not one of those individuals that showed interest and went, hey, I think I'm going to do this. I want to know what's going on. No. No, I was born into the paranormal. No pun intended, but I really was. My mother and father progressed me and my brother. I have 2 brothers and 2 sisters. Um, the closest sister to us, she is in the same mind frame. We all have something unique about us. Uh, Unfortunately, my oldest sister's no longer with us. She passed away from cancer. but we all feel, yeah. And same with my mom. She passed away from the same thing
Mm.
that my mother did. But we always felt that she had a very unique ability too, even though she never talked about it. And we don't discuss the oldest, so we'll just leave that one that way. Um, but my father was a Army Air Corps intelligence officer, uh, and son of a Methodist preacher. My mother was the daughter of one of Virginia's most dominant psychics, if you will, here in Virginia, Annie Chaplin. Uh, she too was the daughter of a Methodist preacher. They both met in the Shenandoah Valley, if you will, Appalachia,
Hmm.
if you will. My father was in Bedford and she was in Peaks of Otter, and they met through a Methodist conference, which is really cool.
Hmm.
Um, so the story of the birth, real quick, we'll give that real quick, because I'm sure this is a humorous. What the hell happened there? I wasn't a normal birth either. There's nothing about me that is normal. I
Right
was
from
at
birth.
right from birth. Yeah, I was born at home on the living room floor uh, because my mom didn't think, they were all eating dinner, and the next thing you know, here I come. You know, no labor pains or nothing, and
Wow.
uh, yeah, the oldest and my father actually delivered me. I was an incubator for about 7 weeks. Um, so literally born into this. The home that I was raised in when I was born up till I was 6 years old had activity, but that had nothing to do with me. That there was none of that kind of stuff. It was actually, here's a good point, Kat. And I know we're going paranormal for a second, but how is it a haunting when it's a family member trying to communicate that passed in the house? That's intriguing. I've never looked at that as a haunting or activity. My
Yeah.
great aunt would come to both my sisters and my mother and my father. You would see her walking around the house the whole nine.
Hmm.
Uh, I never had any encounters with it, but you could feel the energy. This is leading to ufology, folks. Trust me, we've got a full circle in us. So, in that, paranormal almost incorporates ufology and cryptic and crypto, the whole nine now.
Yep.
So, um, there was moments when I was younger that I don't know if I was dreaming or not, and I've never told this on air. So this is interesting. You're getting
Oh.
the full scoop on this one. Um, and I don't know what I was experiencing, but I was 4 and 5 years old. Who would leave their kid alone at the house at 4 and 5 years old?
Hmm.
Okay. Now my sister has an idea about me and Kenny and her and other things, but I do remember in many situations where it felt like I was running from something or hiding from something. Yeah, that's better. We used to have an old dry sink because my parents were antique dealers too. And I would go hide in that. I literally would claw up the very bottom. I did that for just regular anyway. But come to find out in 2022, having a conversation with my brother, he had the same dreams and encounters.
Wow. Oh, just lost your audio.
Still hear me?
Oh, nope. Lost you
Can you
for a
hear me?
sec. Yep, I can hear
Okay.
you.
Well, he must have been reading my mind because he was trying to call through. That was him.
Maybe.
uh, yeah. So, um, even from the time I was young, very young, 4 and 5, for God's sake, I've had memories of ufology. Uh, I'm not going to go and say that I was one of the abductees. However, I know Katrina Cooper and Deb Doraus, several others have claimed that they felt that I have some kind of connection with extraterrestrials or celestials.
Mhm.
So, to move forward, my father actually groomed my brother and myself in the ways of paranormal, the supernatural. He encouraged us, he helped us understand. I think that's why I use more science in the paranormal than I do spiritual. Um, but he pretty much did a great job in grooming us, especially me. Uh, I guess because I can control it. Um, where as I got older, he started to exposing. That's a good word. Exposing the truth about extraterrestrials to me and to my brother. Um, he disclosed uh, locations, which I will not say because I'm happy and the government doesn't need to come after me and the IRS can stay away from me. But uh, but he was also, just to give you a better understanding, my father was the Air Force intelligence officer that tracked the Enola Gay from its hangar bay all the way to Tangier Island. So, yeah, that was my dad.
Wow.
So he actually left the Aleutian Islands when the Enola landed on Tangier to fly to Tangier to track it through and fall back. So, yeah.
Mm.
Uh, and then after the war, he was on the Shenandoah coming from your country. And that's when it got sunk. The last civilian ship to actually be sunk by a German U boat. So they say.
Mhm.
So they say. Because after the fact, there was a lot of government interaction with my father for years after the war. So we'll leave that to your own speculations, if you will, folks. Um, so yeah, it's been an interesting life. Yeah, we'll go with that.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely.
Wow. You almost disappeared there.
I know it was kind
That
of
was
cool.
yeah.
I was going dimensional.
That's funny. So I absolutely love your hats. Not to be not to change the subject, but I how did you get to start wearing those?
That's an interesting one. Well, I've always been into steampunk, so it's kind of like my personality. And a friend of mine, Nick, actually had one back in 2012, 2011, and it was a really nice one, and it was black, and he had the horns on it, and all that. I'm like, that's a
Cool.
great look, you know. And he had this puffy black hair, and seeing this metal head with the top hat and the horns, and it was black in his hair, and I was like, that's really cool. But then I like, sometimes you need a gitch, something to define you, who you are.
Mhm.
And several years ago, I looked at this one and I got this from Spencer's, believe it or not.
Oh, wow.
Spencer's Gifts. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, a friend of mine it runs Spencer's and she's on our team and she's like, boss, I think this would look cool as hell on you. And I'm like, hmm. So I snagged it up. Of course, it's now got a lot more personality than it did back then. But yeah, I started adding my own personality, including a little, if you will, alien activity. Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
I'm also a huge Doctor Who fan. So if
Me
you see,
too.
okay, well then it's not gonna let me. There it is.
Oh
If you see that, this one right here, the yin and yang,
oh, yeah, yeah.
that's not just yin and yang. That's actually steampunk yin and yang.
Oh,
It's
cool.
yeah, it's got sprockets and the whole nine in there.
Oh, wow.
And now, I don't know if you're going to be able to see this. Hopefully, you will. Kat, you'll definitely appreciate this one then. So it's got a Time
Fading
Lord pin.
it's fading in and out, and I can't quite make it out.
Can you see it now?
Mm,
Uh,
no.
well, it's got the Time Lord insignia.
Cool.
So there's a lot of Doctor Who in this, and then in my personality as well. Um, and I've just incorporated a lot of the steampunk because at the time nobody was and steampunk doing podcasting, and I'm like, I found my niche. This is me.
Mhm.
And then, of course, the name got attached to it, so that's how that came about. But I have right now, I've got two hats that are going out to two dear friends, Renee and Keith Ottersberg, that I'm working on for them. But I have one, two, three, four, five, six, about 6 or 7 hats.
Oh,
Kind of
wow.
interseason now. Oh yeah, this is
Yeah.
not the only one. This is just the original.
Okay.
Yeah,
Very
yeah.
cool. Yeah, the first time I saw you, I'm like, "What is this guy about? I gotta click on that." And then it's like, "Oh, this is very entertaining." Like, I just loved you, like, and
Oh,
then saw you had Michelle on your show as well, Michelle DeRoche,
oh
and,
yes.
yeah.
Laura Lee and Carrie Lynn, and plan to have Amelia on in 2025. Yeah, a lot of, you know, I love the fact that the networks are working together. We should work together.
Yes.
It helps promote each other, but also helps promote the cause and give support to so many out there, which need it because they need to know they're not alone.
Exactly. That's one of the reasons why I started this podcast, probably like a lot of other podcasters too. Because as an investigator, I've said this countless times, um, you can almost see a form of PTSD with the clients, especially if if it's a family and one spouse doesn't believe that the other spouse has actually witnessed this. And then the relief that you can see from their body language after we tell them, no, you don't have demons in your bathroom. um,
Yeah.
yeah, it just it just amazes me how stressed somebody can get when somebody doesn't believe you, and then you have to be tight-lipped after that because you don't want them to think that you've gone off the deep end. So, I wanted to have a safe place for people to talk about their experiences and show other people that are watching or listening that, "Hey, I've had those experiences too. I'm not alone."
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. We have to make sure we put it out there. We're making a change. We're trying to rise the vibration for a purpose. There's a lot going on, and I've been feeling that harsh vibration for several months now personally. So if we can
Oh,
get out there and help somebody else and get them motivated and get them in the direction, and no, you're not freaking crazy. This is pretty much legit. Now, okay, let's talk about that for a second, man. When we were kids, who would have, everything was taught to us that fairies and all that, these were all just myths. And this is
fairy
just
tales.
stories. Yeah. And here we are. And man, the stuff that I have seen and experienced, and I'm like, how, why? Why did they hide those type of things from people? Why do they want to make it seem that it's not true? And you know, I, uh, I don't know. I'm really confused on the way society's direction went. I don't know if it was religion, fighting against spiritualism, or you know, was it the classic? Uh, I don't know, control. I don't know. I'm really confused on.
All of the above? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we know how the church got started. I mean, the church really was just a way to control the people in a different way because they were losing their control through power. I mean, that's why Rome and Greece were falling because people were rising up. Oh, now we have a spiritual leader to tell you exactly what to do. No, wait, hold on. I am a follower of Jesus before anybody wants to try to target that.
Don't
uh,
send hate letters.
Exactly. Now, I did say a follower of Jesus, but I'm I don't use the word Christian. And I understand why people use that word now. Christian means the little Messiah. We all have a little bit of the great Creator in us. We all do, and I understand that now. I still will not call myself that of equal to our brother Jesus. I will not. But I will say I am a follower and I respect it. Now, here's another thing. Let's go back to it. Could Jesus been an alien?
Yep.
See, you want to talk about aliens, girl? We can go there. Oh, and he taught the same things that Buddha taught 500 years earlier. Who's to say a Buddha wasn't an alien? The intelligence that comes.
Oh, lost you. Oh, you there?
We're good. Yeah. Yeah, he's tried to call twice. If he
Ah,
calls again, I might have to do something. Um, okay, so it's always something with us.
I
Um,
know, right?
if you look at all the great spiritual leaders, they're preaching the exact same thing. Now, is it because we're not paying attention to the word that's being said? Yes. Let's just, man by nature is evil. Sorry, it's the truth. We destroy things. That's what the extraterrestrials don't want us going too far in space, man. We're like freaking human cockroaches.
Yeah.
We see it. Oh, look, it's living. Let's blow it up.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. We need to stop this frame of mind, and the world will come to peace if we did, but we're not. It's in our DNA. War, ego, control. And I found once I have let some control go, I feel so much better at peace. You know, I went through a long shadow journey myself just to
Mm.
get, and I still am not perfect, but you know, at least I got to the point where I can understand myself and why things happen. And going back to the celestial part, you know, I've had events in my life that I can't explain,
Mm.
that I've seen or experienced or a part of. That's another one. It's kind of crazy when you look around and you know the location you're at. Say, for instance, use this has a bunch of junk cars around you, and then you go grab a cup of coffee, look around, and all the cars are gone, and you're like, "What?" You go get the person that you're with. You say, you know, did they come get all the cars? No. Well, then where the cars go? They come and walk beside you, and they're like holding, you know, in your space, as I call it, my quantum bubble, and they see the same thing I'm seeing. Like, well, you know, they must have come got the cars. Walk away an hour later, come back in the kitchen, look out the window, and guess what? All the cars are still there.
Yeah.
How can you explain that? I can't explain how I. Here's another one. I can't explain how I survived a 120-mile-per-hour car accident. Can't.
Wow.
Cannot. I hit four trees at 120 miles per hour in Shore Pond, Virginia, in '87, and walked away. Well, walked away, fell into the mud, pulled into a car, taken to the hospital, fell out on the stretcher, and then only thing I remember is waking up with a respirator in my mouth. So yeah,
Wild.
yeah, I can do remember that when I hit uh, the trees, a brilliant bright white light shined through the dashboard. I remember that. I also remember the nurse that was there when I was being brought into the hospital. That was never there. Yeah. So you
You're
know, a lot
being
of these.
taken care of.
Well, and you know, I guess I serve a purpose for something, and I'm going with it. I'm going with the flow. I think a lot of times people are experiencing spirits, and I don't really think they're spirits. I think either they're ancestors, guides, or they're celestial beings, or they're extraterrestrials. I think a lot of us are being spoken to by extraterrestrials, and we're not listening. We
Yep.
got to wake up. We really got to wake up real quick. Because I knew if it was me, and I looked at this planet, we're the we're, we are the slums of the universe. Is what I'm
Lock the
saying.
doors, put the windows up, you go.
Exactly. Keep on flying by. We're not
Yeah.
stopping at Earth.
Well, my husband and I listened to on YouTube. I don't know what it is. It's AI telling the story, but it's about how humans were in space now, and there's galactic wars, and they just look at us as soft and squishy and weak. And then when they see what humans can actually do, how adaptable we are, and everything, and then they refer to Earth as the death planet because they don't know how we can survive here because nobody else could. You know, you have extreme temperatures. Some places have, lava spewing everywhere, and they're like, how? And then, like, how are they surviving? And I love the one part where they say that humans are at war with each other, not because they want to, because they're just practicing to fight galactic wars. And I thought, oh, and
Oh, MK Ultra.
And
Yeah.
as the extraterrestrials get to know us, then they're like, yeah, they're a little tougher than what we thought, and we don't want to be on their bad side.
Mm.
Kind of
Well,
interesting.
it is interesting. And the sad part is we have weapons of mass destruction.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they don't want that out in the universe. You know, Einstein, and I will quote him, once he came up with the formula and saw what happened, he goes, I regret everything I have done.
Hmm.
Because he knew what had happened. He knew what they were going to do with the formula. So, you know, it is tragic the way we have treated each other and treated our planet. Um, and man, I just hope people start waking up to the fact that it's okay to be upset with someone, but it's okay to walk away too. You don't need to get physical or violent, but violent is in our nature. And,
Yes.
you know, we're going to talk about something that we talked about or attempted to talk about before. We're going to swing this around and we're going to break it down to creation and all that real quick.
Mhm.
Um, how many people have ever thought that, okay, there's translations after translations after translations of biblical and spiritual texts throughout the world? Well, I'm going to take this back to another full circle. And we had talked about this, and I'm going to bring it back up. So we have two translations of the Bible. We have the New and the Old, and we have the Quran. Okay, these all come from Terran. Okay, the Terran, I'm sure, was a translation of maybe Egyptian religion. Okay, and you know, and let's stop, take a break, think about this real quick. What do you think the Egyptians called themselves? It's a
I
thought.
don't know. I never even thought of that.
Yeah, this is how my brain thinks, because I'm sure the Egyptians didn't go, "Oh my God, they did fucking an Egyptian." No, I'm sure they had a specific name, and I'm sure they had names for themselves, and I'm sure it's provinces. But so, what if we get a translation from translation to translation going down? What if all of these translations are merely just translation of the Anunnaki?
Mm.
And each period as it goes up, it's something new, something different added to, kind of like the Ten Commandments. Bam. And what do we do when the Ten Commandments are missing? It's they've done with the Ten Commandments what they want to do with the Declaration of Independence: disappear. Well, let's look at the facts and why is that? Well, we go back and we say our gods. Okay, it's interesting to me when they say that, because I always feel that no matter what it is, the greater source is alien. It's by technical to this planet. So if the Anunnaki even created us, nevertheless, and split us all up because they were worried about it, how we were individually, we were smart, intelligent, strong, adaptable, like you were just talking, full circle.
Mm-hmm.
That's why everybody has 3% of an African American. That's why African Americans have 3% of Caucasian. That's why we all have percentages of Asian, blah, 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 because we at one time all as one. So that also comes into the likeness of our Father, all as one. Full circle. Um, so it's interesting how this all plays out when we talk about aliens. So the fact is are we not communicating to our brothers and sisters? Now, let's go back. Oh, I'm taking this deep. I know I am. So, and it's something we already talked about. So, if we take this further, let's go back to a TV show that us that are older, ooh, we used to watch, Battlestar Galactica. So, we look at the story of Battlestar. It's 12 colonies. So in the Bible, again, 12 tribes. Where's this going? I personally feel that there were 12 colonies of human races that have been in the universe. We all came from someone's central location.
Mm-hmm.
And then for some reason, whatever happened to that location, we needed to go out into the universe. So 12 tribes went out into the universe. We just happen to be one of the 12 tribes here on the planet. Now, it takes away from the whole idea of the Anunnaki creating us. But let's look at it this way. What if we are really Anunnaki? What if we are the Anunnaki? We
Mm-hmm.
are just, as people say, grays are just us in the future. What if we are the Anunnaki had progressed into this planet in a thought process? Um, it's an idea. Because if that's the case, we weren't created, we landed here. Now, it's proof of millions of years ago that there was a galactic battle that took place on this planet. We don't know why. People want to go resources and this, that, and the fifth. We don't know. We don't know. But we do know in Siberia and 3 other locations, there is a terradrome that actually comes out of the ground. And I think this is, we see this green light, this laser type thing. But there's 4 of them positioned around our planet. And again, they're millions of years old. The one in Siberia, you can't even get 35 to 40 feet uh, near it because the radiation is so, and it's probably a lot more than that,
Mm-hmm.
but the radiation is so intense right there. So, I mean, our planet, we are rooted in extraterrestrial life and history. So, why are we freaking out now?
Yeah. I've always had the crazy idea, and I tell this to other friends, that maybe there was a galactic war, and because humans are so destructive, they put us on this planet to keep us away from everybody else, and that's where they start teaching us, don't use witchcraft, don't use magic, don't use any when you have psychic abilities, don't use that because of how destructive we can be. Or again, there was that galactic war and we're being protected and we're on the planet, but either whichever case it is, they say the veil is very thin right now, or even non-existent. Maybe that veil was there to envelop us, to keep us away from the other dimensions. And now that it's coming down, we're starting to be able to see into other dimensions. Other people are having more psychic abilities. They're seeing more things. That they blink their eyes and it's gone, and they're like, "What the heck?" So I don't know. Maybe that's a book that I could write, or maybe that's reality. I don't know.
I mean, sometimes you got to remember our imagination is reality.
Hmm.
Jules Verne proved that
Yeah.
by all means. And that's another thing when I was young that got me into steampunk and got me into the future and the thought of this was Jules Verne. I love Jules Verne and the stories, and now I was able to look back and go, everything he talked about, look, it's here. We've got flying pencils, planes.
Yeah. Yeah.
We've got trains that he had a specific, I think he just called it locos. I can't remember. Submarines, um, all these different things that Jules Verne talked about. We have now. We were literally in spaceships too. He
Yeah.
talked about spaceships. Even though Da Vinci even talked about some of this, but not in the detail, not in the storytelling that Jules Verne had.
Hmm.
Makes you wonder, were we led into believing this in some of us? But I think he was just he was writing down what he was experiencing and could see. I don't think we were led. I think we are leading ourselves in the direction we should have if we can get rid of certain processes. You know, it's scary when I go to think about this because some of the most evilest people on this planet that's ever lived wanted to change our lives, but why? Look at Adolf Hitler here in Virginia, Dexter Desjardins, all into the agenda. But if they were truly trying to help the human race, why were they killing off races?
Mm.
So people got to look at the bigger picture of that. I think they might have gotten their hands on some memoirs or things that they weren't supposed to have. Um, I think a lot. It's the same thing with the Vatican, the vaults. I think our true nature is in those vaults,
Yep.
and You know that vault is not even in the Vatican anymore. They create a whole new vault because TV gives away locations, and intentionally or unintentionally, they do.
Mm-hmm.
So people became aware in the 90s that there was a huge vault beneath the Vatican. Well, they got to fix that and let's move on, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, look what all of our gold here in the United States.
Yep.
I can guarantee you it's not where you think it is anymore.
Nope. Because
Nope.
everybody knows about it now.
Yep. That's why they opened up 51. They can
Mm-hmm.
announce it's a special base or whatever it's for, but it's not the location you think it is anymore.
Mm-hmm.
They want you to because that's anti-terrorism. That's anti industrialism. It's anti-information, and that's what war is. It's about giving off misinformation. Look here, while we're doing this over there.
I was just thinking of that. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
Exactly. Yeah. The Oz, good or bad.
I was getting back to Jules Verne a couple of years ago, and I found out that because it's a pretty recent thing when they announced that there's an ocean under the surface that's larger than any ocean we have on the surface.
4 times
So,
larger.
yeah. So who's to say? I automatically thought of Jules Verne. What's living down there too? Are there dinosaurs down there? Are there like lizard men? Like what's down there? If there's oceans,
Well, it is intriguing. All right. First of all, we've got to shed some light on this situation. All right. We got to be realistic and honest with ourselves. They talk about the sun. How is there sun underneath the crust? Okay. That's one thing that throws things completely off start. Okay. Should there be life underneath the crust as another layer? It is a very good possibility. We've got that proof here in Stanton, Virginia. Now, a river that flows completely the opposite way it's supposed to be flowing, and it flows underground, underneath the mountains. They've dropped GPS balls, etc., in this, and once it leaves and drops down a specific cliff, it disappears.
wow,
So
I didn't hear about that.
yeah, it's part of
Wow.
that's why people need to come and check out Stanton. Yes, check out the Ghost of Stanton tour, GOS. You'll hear about that and more. Um, but yeah, and it's all over the world. So these possibilities are very strong. The problem is, what about light source? All right, so these creatures living without light. We hear a lot about lizard men. Here we go. We're going there, which means they're not alien. Many of these creatures that they think are alien, maybe they were never alien. Look, the polar caps are melting because the Earth is going back to its original state, which is tropical. This is
Mm-hmm.
the way the Earth was. So could it be releasing and allowing these cells to reproduce again now that they're unfrozen? Who knows what we're experiencing? It's not from outer space. It's from right here.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, we have no clue the amount of life that could be here on this planet. So could it be lizardmen? Possible. Could there be other races? Could there be Atlanteans? I don't know about the Atlanteans. That's a good one. Something happened. I'll say that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but there are other races. Sure, I would give that 100% possibility. And if there's other races, then there are other types of species of animals and creatures and lizards, and oh my, oh more.
Yeah, just
Yeah,
snowballs.
it can definitely snowball. But again, I bring one point to everybody who wants to talk about the inner world. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
then where's the light source? What is their light source? Lava? Okay. Are you going to be able to exist in the same quadrant as a lava flow? No, that's going to
No,
burn.
a
It's
little
going to turn.
warm.
Yeah, it's going to turn you into human steak. No. So there has to be for plants
Yeah,
of any type.
bioluminescent. Yeah, like
Yeah. Okay, I'll go with that. But on the flip side, if it's other plants, there needs photosynthesis to take place, which it needs sunlight.
mm-hmm.
Eh, I don't. Bioluminescence is something that Admiral Byrd said, and I will go with that. And that's a whole another subject altogether. Uh, But he said it was fake. And then on his deathbed, his daughter finally said, it's true. He flew over the poles. Not even gonna say where he flew. Don't need to. And he was pulled into the city. Blah 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 blah. I can see the possibility of inside of a mountain, but wouldn't we be able to see that on satellites and different things? No, because we already know NASA lies. That we already know that they don't tell the truth. So we can't believe anything NASA shows on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
So the possibility is increased about 50% once you start looking at that. Because unless you go there yourself, you're not going to know.
It's being
That's,
hidden.
that's right. It's the same thing as the spiritual mountain. And I just watched this episode last night, which is incredible. It's just like the spiritual mountains in Arizona. You just don't know. But hundreds, if not thousand people have lost their lives and had paranormal and ufology accounts and abductions. Where did the abductions come from?
Yeah. I have heard a handful of people mention that the reason why we're seeing so many UFOs the last little while is not just because we're a little bit more aware and we're looking now. It's because the veil that's protecting the planet, that's keeping us away from the other dimensions. The aliens know this, and they're coming to keep an eye on us to see what we're about to do. Have you heard that?
What we're about to do.
Or what we can do, I mean.
What we already have done.
Yeah.
You really think that Stranger Things is just a movie or a TV show that, just popped up? No, I really believe it because science. I will tell you this, if it's been talked about and created, it's already been done. And as paranormal researchers, and if we've had the experiences that we have, shit has happened. Pardon the Anglo-Saxon there. It has. Supercell generators. I don't know about time travel yet. Maybe. But I would say possibly machines to create portals, or the use of, because they learned the technology of the Anunnaki and those around them who did it. So I would say it's already being done or have been done. I don't think it's a factor of it could be. No, I think it's already happened.
Mm-hmm.
They are, it is, because I mean, let's look at from the early 1990s on, the amount of cryptics that we have seen, the increase in that. We've seen an increase in UFO encounters, etc. I don't think it's all just the veil. I think it's so much. There's many things at play. Our technology, what we're using to communicate with or give power to. Um, you know, we have thinned the veil. Maybe that's the point of, we have learned to use light. Let's look at Stargate. I mean, that's a good possibility. Or Interstellar, that's two.
Mm-hmm.
And we know for a fact that there's something to the fact of Interstellar that the government has done, used, or whatever. So endless amount of possibilities.
Mm-hmm.
Just give me my freaking telephone booth and let me go home. I'm ready to leave. What's wrong with you?
Wouldn't it be nice to have a TARDIS?
Oh man. I would be like a bug in a rug. Yes. Take me home. Take me home.
Yep. I have a little USB hub because I only have 2 ports for USB on my laptop, and I need more than that. It's a TARDIS.
Oh, look at you. You got the TARDIS plug. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that one. I love that one. I love the fact of interdimensional transmissional exploration.
Yeah.
And if you don't understand Doctor Who, you wouldn't get that. It's all quantum. It's all quantum. I think they were brilliant back in the 60s to actually come up with that. And Doctor Who is the longest running television show in the world. So and it has some value to it. And a lot of Who fans have come from nowhere. I was a Who fan in the 80s, and now everybody's David Tennant. Da, da, da. I'm like, screw your Tennant, man. I got my Baker. Kiss off.
Yes, yes.
Both of them, Tom Baker and Colin.
Oh,
I love
yeah.
them both.
Like Tennant's character had said, it's a big ball of wibbly wobbly, timey wimey stuff.
That's right. Exactly. All our words, and I call it the paranormal spaghetti.
Yes, it's
Mm,
a little easier to say.
yeah.
I remember when I was a kid, I was watching CBC
Mhm.
Sunday morning, and it was this black and white science fiction program. They only played it the one time, and it was Doctor Who. It was the what was I can't remember what it was. The older guy. Is that the first one?
What did he look like? Do you
Just
remember? Was it
just
long
wait.
white hair?
Yes.
All right, that's the first Doctor.
Yeah.
Older man, long white hair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I only see snippets in my mind, but it was Doctor Who, and I'm like, oh, this is brilliant. I wish I could see more. And then years later, when they did bring it back, I thought, oh my God, this is amazing.
Yeah.
So
And that's sad that they take away television like that. It makes you wonder why. It's a great program, and somebody defines this is not good enough to be watched. And then if you 55 years later, oh look, it's still in there. I guess it's not good enough to watch. Okay.
is it good? Is it not good enough to watch, or is there things in there that they don't want us to be savvy to and say, hey, this is not just science fiction. Maybe this is actual
Don't
science.
close your eye. Don't close your eyes.
Exactly. Yep.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah, I think there's something to that. And I agree with you. I think we're able to tap into those things. And these people that are producing and writing are brilliant. Um, I would have never thought about the angels. And I was like, that's a brilliant insight to modern Who. And I'm like, that
Yep.
was really good. That's really good. They actually had that episode where the doctor encountered a spirit. I always was like, how come the doctor never encounters a freaking ghost? And finally they did. I'm like, that's intriguing. Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
And he had a
it's
dinosaur.
that's right. Yeah. Well, he's had everything right
Oh
now,
yeah. Yeah.
from electronic dog to everything else. K9. Yeah.
Nine. Yeah.
Mhm.
Gee, we could have a whole episode on Doctor Who.
Oh, absolutely.
Any of the Doctor Who actors who want to be on our shows, please contact us. Wouldn't
Oh, man. If I
that be
could,
amazing?
yeah, getting people, and here, all right, we're going to go into this little quadrant for a second, folks. Bear with us. Trying to get people as such on podcasts is like pulling teeth. I've reached out to so many different people, and these people, and I'm going to say it, I think this is where I'm going to get a little real here for a second. These people talk about they want to be seen, they want to help people. They're like, oh, I'm here to help. Or you can contact me anytime at blah, 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 blah. You contact them. You get a representative that emails you back a week later that says, we'll be in touch. You never hear from them again. But these are the same people now that are running out there getting their own damn little podcast and just expanding it. Every actor from Howie Mandel, no pun intended, to every damn wrestler on our planet has their own podcast now. Podcasting is saturated. And I'm just like, I've reached out to a lot of people, and I'm like, give the opportunity. You preach it and walk it. Don't
Mhm.
sit there and go because they get in their own little world. That's why if somebody comes to me and goes, hey, Howie, you want to talk? I'm like, sure. Howie, you want to do an event? Sure. How much do we want to pay you? What?
Yeah.
No. I, if I do an event, I do an event for free. I'm not asking for money.
Mhm.
If it was ever for a fact, maybe I'd do it just for if you could pay for at least my room. And if that's far away, I've never accepted, nor would I, to talk at a convention or expo, if you will. I think these people who did that are ripping people off, and these are the same people that made those people. And I'm not going to go into names, but
Yeah.
I think this whole convention thing's a joke now.
Mm.
You know, it's the same thing as I was talking to Kim and Rhonda about this, and I was like, the name needs to be changed. I'm like, why? Oh no, I was also talking to Laura Lee about this too, and David. I was like, they got to change the name of these things. I'm like, what are you talking about? I was like, because it's all wrong. It's not a convention; it's an expo. You're exposing these teams and these people to the public. Convention's internal, expo is external. Why are we using the word convention when
Mm.
it's actually an exposing? So that's my feelings on that. I'm sticking to it.
I've been trying to get this one gentleman on my show for quite a few years now. I'm not going to mention the name, but I know you've heard of him. And I've sent him. We follow each other on Facebook, but we don't communicate very much. He'll like some things that I do. I'll comment some things that he puts. But anyways, I've sent him messenger request, email request. I've even on Facebook called him out by name, saying, "Please, they're not. Please, I'd like for you to be on my show. Contact me." And the last email that I sent was last month, and I said, "Please let me know either way. If you're not interested, I'll stop sending the messages." But at least I don't even get any replies.
That's when I would say goodbye, see you later. Facebook is popularity.
Oh yeah.
I like my travelers. I love my travelers, those who follow me in the network and support our teams. But if you're just on there and you're just filling somebody up just to get a name, or you think they're going to communicate,
Mhm.
probably wrong. I can tell you, I've got so many people that are on my list that probably don't even deserve that because they don't even care for me or pay attention or support me. So why do I care? It's
Mhm.
not just about algorithms. It's again, we're going back to ego and id.
Mhm.
And they know that I'm very honest and very straightforward. And if I'm going to call you out, I'm going to call you out. Hey, you probably deserved it.
Mhm.
People do the same thing to me. Hey, call me out. I don't care. I've got I got nothing to lose. I'm always honest. That's the one thing I love about my travelers. They know. They
Yeah.
know I'm always going to be honest.
Mhm.
Always. I'll tell the truth. I have nothing to hide. I'm just a man.
Yeah, I've said before on the show that I don't have guests on my show because of who they are. And I had this little piece of advice given to me, and I'm going to say Jim Mallard from the Mallard Report. Um,
Okay.
he gave me this little piece of information. He goes, "Don't have people on your show just because of who they are. Have people on the show that you find are interesting." And you'll be
Yeah.
able to keep your audience that way because you find them interesting and they're going to be able to pick up on that. So this one particular gentleman that I want to have on the show, I find he's very interesting, and it's a topic that I've never really discussed a whole lot, like in depth. I don't want to mention the topic either, because then everyone will know who it is. I can tell you off air. um, and I have a lot of mutual friends, like Michelle knows him, and it's just the he's just really difficult to get a hold of, and I guess he doesn't do a lot of shows now, but still, the topic really interests me, and I want to have him on so we can discuss it, but
Yeah.
maybe it's just not meant to be.
You've already pushed enough. I mean, that's
Yeah,
the way I feel too. You're gonna
yeah.
get two connection. If you don't communicate with me the very first time, then I'm just gonna move on. And even I will say, there's times where somebody's canceled because I could feel that energy,
Mhm.
and they're like, "Oh yeah, yeah," and then they're like, something suddenly comes up, and you're like, "Don't play me." Why don't you just say no at the very beginning? You know what? I'm okay with that,
Mhm.
and I won't come back to him. There is no reason. There's a set of brothers out there that are supposedly popular, that make did make movies that get paid too much. Um, that when I first started getting into podcasting, they claimed, get in, be a part, da 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 da. And every time they would have some issue or something going on, I was like, I ain't got time for it. I don't care how popular. That's where that lost to. I'm not about the popularity. I'm about the interest. I want to know the science. I want people to hear the people that are in the trenches now. I don't give two craps about if you've been on TV or not. I really don't care anymore. I don't want those people on my show. They're not the real people. They're not the ones doing the job. They're not the ones in the trenches coming up with their research and this and that. They're using other people's words to be popular. They're also using the viewers of the people to be popular. And it was the people who made him, just like the people, by the people, for the people.
Mm.
Yes. And we don't see that. And now they take their fame and run with it. And now they charge those people who made them $500-$600 to take a picture or an autograph or some crap. And I'm like, because you had 5 minutes on TV,
Mhm.
bitch, please.
I love that.
Man, just saying, no honesty.
So we have 4 minutes left. I want to touch on the subject of the Hitman, and then you can tell us where people can find you.
Ooh, what do you want to know about the Hitman?
How did you get the title?
Ha
I know now, but
ha. Well, actually, I was a whole lot more aggressive when I first started getting into podcasting than I am now. I was a lot more outspoken. You got to change positions when you create a network and you're the head focal point of that network. Um, I was on air one night, and a friend of mine was over just checking out, going a minute, and didn't know if he wanted to get into this or not. And I was quite belligerent and forward that night, and ended the show. And it was actually a good show. Um, I mean, when we left Blog Talk, we left 55,000 people to start over
wow.
again. Yeah, we had listeners from all over the world, and I was really happy. Look, I was like, look at that progression that we had made. But anyway, so I was sitting there, and we were sitting there drinking and talking, and he goes, you know what? I know what you need to call yourself. I'm like, what the hell? He goes, you are the Hitman. I'm like, huh? Give it to me now. He goes, dude, you're so much like Bret Hart. It's not even funny. He goes, there's nothing in your sleeve that you won't talk about. You're straightforward. You're honest. You talk about it. You put your feelings out there and you just say it straight. It's like you're giving a verbal hit, verbal bang, bang. He goes, dude, you're the Hitman. And I'm like, okay, let's try it.
Hmm.
Uh, I started using it, and it's stuck. I can't even change the name now. It's like this hat. This hat's more popular than I am. Um, I've tried to get away from the Hitman once or twice, just because people want to put a negative twist on it, Hitman. But once they realize that it's the social media spiritual Hitman, I'm going
Hmm.
to tell you the way it is. I'm going to be straightforward. If you come at me, I will be honest about completely and everything. So, no matter what the subject is, I'm going to be honest. I could be wrong. I might be wrong, and I'll accept it if I'm wrong. But I'm always going to be honest about who I am. And that's the other thing. It's about my family. It's about my friends. It's about what I can do for everybody else. So I'm going to be straightforward. So therefore, the Hitman was created.
I admire that. You stay true to yourself.
Yes, ma'am.
Yep.
Absolutely. That's one thing that we have a problem with society. We're not staying true to ourselves. There's no code and no integrity in society right now.
Yep. Amen to that.
Yes, ma'am.
Yep. Okay, so if you could tell the audience where they could find you.
Sure, I'm not that hard to find at all.
I know.
Facebook, right? You can go on Facebook and look up Ed, E-D, Odell, Odell, small d. On Facebook, right there, you'll see a picture with me in the hat with my better half. Um, and of course, my banner is going to have something to do with the Rift Nation Network. You can find me at the Rift Nation Network on Facebook. You can send an email there or contact me there. And we have a mobile app that's available. You can check that out. It's through Wix, or you can go to Wix and check out riftnation.com there. We're found on YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitch. What was that other one? I don't know. I forgot the other one.
Rumble?
Oh, Rumble. Yeah, we're heading for Rumble too. Soon we'll have a Patreon
Nice.
because we are going to start teaching paranormal and mediumship and things. So we are going to give that opportunity to people to join classes, and it'll help with the progression of the network. That's the only reason we would charge these classes. But you know what? We are all talking about, and we all want to share our experiences or help people grow.
Yep.
So
Nice.
you can find us, or you can find us at the Rift Nation Network at gmail.com.
.com. Awesome. Thank you so much, Ed. I really appreciate this. I'm, like I said, three times the charm.
We made it happen.
Yes, we did. Hang tight. We'll chat afterwards. If you have a couple of minutes, I'll just say bye to everyone and thank you again.
May virtue be yours.
Well, folks, thank you so much to my special guest tonight and UPRN 107.7 New Orleans. Remember, if you enjoyed the show, please like, share, and subscribe. And to be a guest on the show, drop me an email at paranormalheart13. Yes, paranormalheart13 at gmail.com. Almost forgot my own email there for a second. Much love to you all, and thank you to the audience for taking time to listen. Much love to you all. Take care.